It's important to understand why we eat mindlessly when we're not hungry. That way we can burst those balloons and take control of our food intake by eating mindfully. Mindful eating allows us to do the vital work of what is really going on below the surface of disordered eating, that is, beyond the physical need for food and drink. Being hangry. We're so famished we scarf whatever is easy and within reach, which often is processed foods high in calories. Pleasure. We just love the taste, texture, and smells of well prepared and favorite foods. Fatigue. Our energy levels are low, caffeine doesn't cut it, so we reach for food, mostly sugary food, hoping to get a second wind. Comfort. Food can offer us emotional escape, safety, nostalgia. Think family recipes, familiar homey aromas that are calming, like cinnamon and oatmeal, foods that make us happy and feel cared for. Also, cooking and baking are very soothing, nurturing, and meditative practices. And this explains the bread making craze. Numbing. We want to freeze our emotions as a coping mechanism to deal with inner and or outer traumas. Numbing is common to all addictive behaviors, from drinking to smoking to gaming to binging on Netflix. Avoidance. You have bills to pay or taxes to do or other tasks that you identify as being unpleasant, intimidating, or time consuming. Reaching out for a snack is easier and seems more emotionally satisfying than dealing with chores that are perceived as overwhelming or triggering. Routine or scheduling conflicts. Eating because it's time to, or anticipating hunger. This is a typical work situation. You have your lunch break at noon. You might not be hungry, but you eat a full meal anyway. Or you're rushing from work to another activity, and you just might shove something in because you might not be able to eat when hunger strikes later. Parents can relate to this when rushing from one extracurricular activity to another. Dehydration. So often we reach for food when we're thirsty. It's really easy to confuse our hunger signal with our thirst signal, especially if we don't pay attention to them routinely. Complicating things more is that both hunger and thirst can present as feeling headachy, lightheaded, and nauseous. It's even possible to get hunger pangs in your stomach when you're thirsty. Research has shown that people drink when thirsty only 2% of the time. In 62% of the cases, individuals confuse hunger and thirst cues every which way. Because it's there. We eat without thinking why. Sometimes it's boredom, sometimes it's restlessness, which is not anxiety. It's important to highlight this. Restlessness is about not knowing how to direct our energy. For example, we have a need to keep our hands or mouth busy, so we eat for sensory satisfaction. This happens often when smokers quit cigarettes and they have a compulsion to mimic the physical action of smoking. Impulse eating is also very common in those with ADHD for many different reasons. Social eating. We all do this. We eat and drink as a courtesy to our hosts, to be part of a social contract, as a reward to ourselves, and sometimes because we're anxious in social situations. Guess what? We eat more in a group than in the crowd. If you're at a packed movie theater by yourself, you'll be eating as you normally do. But if you're with friends, you'll eat more. And the bigger the group of friends, the more you'll eat, partly because it's socially understood that a shared meal is a feast and special, giving us license to eat more. Winter. We instinctively think the more food we eat, the warmer we'll feel. And as those of us in northern climates know all too well, the food choice in winter is carbs. And that's why we call it the Winter Five. The worst thing about overeating or any other addictive behavior is that after indulging, which is a choice, the voice in our heads fills us with guilt and shame, throwing us into a terrible vicious circle. I already failed once today, so I might as well go all out and start my diet again tomorrow. If you need more support in your health journey to get to the root of why you overeat and whether your relationship with your body is healthy, message me here or email me at mary@palomalife.ca. Thanks so much for listening and watching.